Shalom. Allah start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahawashi, Bahashem, Kadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of great millstone. Salutations to the hopeful elect that's pushing this truth across four corners of the earth and all faith, truth, and sincerity. This I'm gonna want to buy back and getting us sitting. This one going to how the Lord Howell Bashin Yahushua is going to, destroy this place, America, Babylon the Great, when he returns. And then Lord Yahushua, when he makes his return, he's going to, deliver the elect of the so-called Negro. He'll deliver the elect of the so-called Negro, Latino natives, which are Israelites, from, not, to not be destroyed, by the thermonuclear missiles, and to not receive that second death, so, I'm getting to it. This Amos 9 and 8. Behold, the eyes of the Lord power. Behold, the eyes of the Lord power are upon the sinful kingdom, and I will destroy it from off the face of the earth, saving that I will not utterly destroy the house of Jacob, saith the Lord. Yahawashi. So the Most High Yahweh Yahushua, is the Lord. His eyes is on the sinful kingdom. What's the sinful kingdom? America, Babylon the Great. Lord Yahushua sees all this wickedness that's going on in this kingdom, in this wicked rulership, right? That's ran by the so-called white man, the so-called white people, Esau, Edomite devils, the elites of Esau, Edom. He sees all the things that that don't, that you don't see on, on the internet like that, or don't get exposed, that you really don't see, like, it's not out there, all the way out there like that, but the Most High Yahweh Shah sees it. He see what these so-called white people, Esau, Edomite red devils are doing, behind closed doors, underground, whatever, all this wickedness and so forth that's going on, here in America, Babylon the Great, and so forth, and the Lord Yahweh Shah will destroy, this place, America, Babylon the Great. He gonna destroy all. He's gonna bring his wrath and judgment down upon this place. When he returns in the chair, so-called UFO. Everything here in America, Babylon the Great, gonna be completely burnt up. By the laser beams, chariots, or so-called UFOs, and ultimately the thermonuclear missiles. And like I say, and Lord Yahweh, and I'll say, Yahweh Shah, he's not gonna utterly not gonna destroy the Israelites, which are the so-called Negro, Latino natives, because you're gonna have 2/3 of Israelites that's gonna, Israelites that's not gonna make it, to escape the wrath of judgment of Lord Yahushua, Lord Yahushua, in these times, and when the Lord Yahushua returns, so, but you're gonna have those that are gonna have mercy by the Lord Yahushua when he returns and escape his wrath and judgments. That's gonna come down upon America, Babylon the Great. Well, go from there. Go from there next. Let's see. Go to Romans 9 and 27. Isaiah, Isaiah also cried concerning Israel. Though the number of the children of Israel be as the sand of the sea, a remnant shall be saved. So hey, the children of Israel, like the children of Israel, which are the so-called Negro, Latino natives, Israelites, are like the sand of the sea, because Israelites, they scattered. The Israelites are scattered across the four corners of the earth. but only a remnant is going to be delivered. So excuse me, a small portion. I said a small number of Israelites. It's not going to be a big number of Israelites that are not going to be delivered in these times. Excuse me. It's going to be a small number. It's going to be a small number of Israelites that's going to be, man. It's going to be a small number of Israelites that are going to be delivered in these times, The elect of Israel, so-called Negro, Latino natives, or their righteous number. Hopefully they're part of the righteous number. Right? To escape the rapid judgment of the Lord outside in these times and be delivered. But I'm go from there. It's on Zechariah 13:8. And it shall come to pass that in all the land except the Lord Yahweh. Read it again. Zechariah 13:8. And it shall come to pass that in all the land except the Lord Yahweh, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the third shall be left therein. So, Yahweh Bashan Shah, 2/3. 2/3 Israelites not going to see mercy and deliverance from the Lord Yahawashi when he returns. 2/3 Israelites, that's out here doing wickedness and still indulging in wickedness and so forth, that are not a part of that righteous number going to be destroyed. But the 1/3, the 144,000, 1/3 going to be delivered. From the wrath and judgment that Lord Yahawashi is going to bring upon America, Babylon the Great. But I'll go to the next verse. Zechariah 13:9. And I will bring the third part through the fire, and I will refine them as silver is refined, and I will try them as gold is tried. They shall call on my name, and I will hear them. I will say, it is my people, and they shall say, the Lord Yahweh Bashan is my power. So, hey man, the elect, is gonna give all praises to the Lord Yahweh Bashan for being, receiving mercy from the Lord Yahweh, be delivered from his wrath and judgment, man. Because the times that we are heading in going forward is going to get wild and wicked, real wicked out here, it's going to get, chaotic, and the only ones that are going to escape the wrath and judgment of the Lord Yahawashi in these times is the elect of the Israelites, have mercy, and Lord Yahawashi is going to deliver, the elect, those that died in the faith, and, it's going to be risen up, and those that remain will be taken up, with them, when the Lord Yahawashi returns, be taken up. The elect, the Israelites, going to be taken up, in the chariot so-called UFO, to escape that second death, those thermonuclear missiles, and not getting those laser beams as well from the chariot so-called UFOs, so, let me see. And I'll say, that, in these times now going in, it's all about, hey, how strong is your faith in the Lord Yahawashi? When things really, when things start to get really, real serious, and, the reality is, hey, this place, things are just, everything in America, Babylon the Great is going down, and me, myself, first and foremost, I say, and those that believe Lord Yahawashi, it's all about, hey, how strong your faith is in Lord Yahawashi, when things just, uncomfortabilities, come about, and, you're going to have to be on the run, and you might have to face, these martial law troops, I had to grab you up, taking concentration camp. You know, that's how serious things are gonna get going forward, man. So it's all about like I said, me myself first and foremost. Do you really trust Lord Yahawashi? Those that believe in Lord Yahawashi, do you really have faith in Lord Yahawashi? He, going to have mercy and deliver you from His wrath and judgments, man. And and not let nothing, sway you from your faith. Not to sway you from your faith and believe in Lord Yahawashi in these times, man. And going forward, and hey, keep your faith in Lord Yahawashi and to the death, So with that, they won't make this too long. Hope this was edifying. I like to give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahawashi, Bahashem Kakadash, to the apostles, elders.